I don't know who said there was plenty of food in the wild. When they arrived, they found only small crabs and clams to eat. What's the point of hoarding more? There's no way to fill your stomach. Only if I can get some meat to eat. My stomach just feels a little better, but you need at least 3 squirrels a day. So whether there's a big meal here or not. Day 5 of the challenge. Zach didn't expect Bayardo to stab him in the back. We talk about getting along. They almost beat the crap out of Zach just now. Good thing I brought squirrel meat as a token of good faith. Team Bravo was so angry. Bajado did not realize his mistake. I keep saying that's what the challenge is about. Know the sum of all the people on your team. Not as good as Drake. I'm afraid he's going to come over here and be violent. Drake didn't expect anything like this to happen to him. Bayardo feels he has more jars now. Whether it's cooking or filling water. Those are all good choices. Zach doesn't want to talk to him. I just want to get back to camp and tell my teammates. This Bayadu has to be voted out. The team saw Zach coming back alone. Thought something was going on. I never thought Bayardo would do something like this. The challenge is only a few days old. It's not good to get into trouble with your neighbors, is it? Always be on the lookout for an attack. Bravo's side has decided. Going to destroy the Alpha camp. Drake was unarmed. It's the greatest respect for the show. Zach wants everyone to work together to get Bayardo out of here. It's the only way to stay until the end. Bayardo saw the seriousness on everyone's faces. He thinks he's just doing what everyone wants. Tanya doesn't want to fight with the others. Trey thought he could make an alliance first and work later. Bayardo is still rushing things. He was going to say something about it. I panicked as soon as I saw Drake approaching. There's a lot to do here at camp. This is no time for war with the others. Trey will return it now. This Bayardo is really a food and a fun guy. When people come over, they're too weak to face them. Trey had a special contempt for Bayardo. Let's hope Drake's side doesn't beat themselves up, although the two sides still have some distance. But Trey was already screaming for everyone to calm down. He just came by to give it back. To see Drake in such a fierce state, Trey can only apologize and step back. Drew doesn't want to stir up conflict. If it happens again, they weren't as easy to talk to as they are now. Trey immediately distanced himself from Bajado. It's really just him who's bad. I can tell by the clarity of those eyes. If we don't see Bayardo firing the flare, there's no chance of an alliance between the two teams going forward. Trey had to carry the message back to camp. It is good that there has been no further conflict. But if you want Bayardo to leave like that, he is totally unacceptable. It's a random wilderness survival challenge. Why are there more rules now? Bayardo heard his teammates trying to chase him away. I was about to explode. It's not for the team's benefit that the jar came back. This bunch of wimps just can't handle it. Do you think the Alphas will be able to flush out Bayardo? I'm sure flares are out of the question. The best thing to do is go to another team. Happiness is always so short. Bayardo didn't regret taking the jar. The problem is that they don't seem to have any way to get to the other side. Zach doesn't keep people who endanger the team. Bravo and Alpha have been keeping an eye on Bajado. He finally chose to fire the flare. This challenge myself is really not willing to stay. Everyone was cheering when they saw the flare. Everyone on the other side wants to know who the loser is. Personally has scored a teammate off the challenge anyway. The Alpha team is in a very bad mood. It turns out survival in the wild isn't all about hunting and starving. Being worldly is also very important. Poor Bajado didn't even get an elimination interview. Let's move on to Delta. They're busy expanding the shelter. Hopefully, this will keep the fire warm. It's not that difficult just to make sure the pine needles are facing down. This will allow the water to flow naturally. Eric's a lot more stable today. It's a lot smoother as a team, all because of Bayardo's flare. If we don't unite, we're out. No one wants to lose the chance to win the prize. I have to say it's time for Bajado to leave. The team atmosphere is getting better and better. In a few more days, we'll be able to complete the construction. And Charlie's team is still out there trying to light the fire. It's amazing they've made it this far. I don't know if it's the technology or the environment. How come you can't get the fire started? If you keep going like this, your body's going to lose it. Bree felt that too many people were busy making fires. The efficiency of this work is too low. It's no use sitting around talking about it. Might as well be on another team. All we can do now is cover more branches to keep us warm. The problem of not having a leader is really serious. Joseph, on the other hand, looks for food for the team. The clams are the easiest to get at the moment. Later, if you have the opportunity, you can fish or set traps. I have a very good nose. His friends like to call him Birdhound, as long as there's food around. Joseph is confident he can bring some back. This beach doesn't offer much food. We still have to hunt for food later. The camp on Bravo's side is warm, completely unaffected by the cold outside. We managed to push Bayardo back today. Drew is in a great mood, but we also need something to put in the camp. We can't have it stolen again. Delta's got crabs and squirrels. It doesn't taste very good. It's just a craving. It will be finished by tomorrow. They feel that the current staffing There must be no problem in winning the championship. The challenge continued into the early hours of the sixth day. Charlie team has not yet brought fire to life. Everyone huddled together every day to keep each other warm. The worst part is the water dripping in. It's not much better on the Alpha side. I'm still shivering next to the fire. It's only going to get colder. We need to warm up the camp somehow. We managed to get through the morning, and it began to rain again. It's just the right temperature for Brendan. He and Joseph lay on it and didn't want to move at all. Eric wants them to change their clothes. I almost got smoked last night. The brothers thought it tasted just right. The team atmosphere is much more harmonious now. Tina thought if it could keep going like this, we're going to make it to the end. Squirrels can still be heard nearby. I'm planning on hunting more today. Brendan's going to teach you how to build a scissor trap. I'm sure we'll get rid of the squirrels here. It's not very difficult to make. The main thing is to determine the balance. Brendan is a professional hunter. The little squirrel has to be held. It was shot through right after it got out. That's a good use of the bow and arrow. Also found mushrooms nearby. A big piece like that would go great with a squirrel. I wonder if I can see the little people dancing after the mushrooms. There's nothing but good spirits on Charlie's side. Other that's not good at all. Not for 2 days on current power. Most importantly, there is no fire to keep warm. This life is just too much to live on. Megan suggested checking on the next door neighbor. If we can work together, won't we have this fire? Bree had no idea life here would be so hard. It's also a good idea to work with others. Julio thought it was so embarrassing. Whoever wants to go, they're not going anyway. The other side may not cooperate yet. Bree was quite anxious about it. Finally, Megan and Bree are headed to Delta. I hope everything goes well. Things are going well with Team Bravo. Is there no food to eat? Drake was very anxious about it. I hear people cooing there every day. Now I'm thinking about eating meat. I really don't want to eat this mushroom. Sammy is going to set up some traps to catch squirrels. Well, that would give you some energy. I want to have a good life here. It's going to take a lot of time and effort. Ever since I was a child, I have loved to go out into the wild. That's a handle for setting traps. I don't know when squirrels will be delivered. If he wants to eat the bait. Tonight we reward the squirrel with a belly swim. Megan and Bree are on their way to Delta. Just saying hi shouldn't be a problem, right? It would be great if we could work together. No one should choose to reject a friendly neighbor. They didn't realize the Delta camp was so far away. It's a lot of work coming down here. I looked in several places, but I didn't find it. Suddenly, I smelled a burning fire. Delta had no idea anyone was coming. Busy finishing up the camp. It was a real shock when Megan and Bree arrived. Eric hates to be upset, but I saw a girl coming. The smile on his lips was unbearable. I had a good time at camp, so he didn't meddle in other people's affairs. Megan was quick to express her kindness. It's great to keep praising Eric for leading the team. Doesn't look like he's reacting. Inside, I was so happy. Eric said they also ate squirrels, which were really delicious. Too bad they're all gone. I'd let you try them. Megan felt the gap between the two teams was too big. Others have had good lives. I was struggling to make a fire. Is it too soon to join Delta? The crabs and clams in the bucket are delicious. Eric didn't realize Charlie's team hadn't lit a fire by now. No wonder you came here to talk. If they never get a fire, maybe the whole team will be eliminated. Even though Megan kept smiling and saying it was okay. But Eric could see her reluctance. Expect to see the flares again in a while. It doesn't feel like Charlie's a threat right now. After leaving Delta camp, Megan thinks her team is terrible. It really is no comparison, no harm. Bree wished he hadn't been chosen. If this fire doesn't light, a lot of things don't work out. It's time to think more about yourself. I'm sure the guys heard about Delta. That must be hard to accept. I hope this doesn't affect the challenges ahead. The challenge continues on the 7th day. Alpha's got an early start here. The only food you can eat is some mushrooms. No amount of this is going to fill you up. It's just a pleasure in the midst of misery. Zach thinks it's like jelly. Does that taste like nothing? It's really tasteless. It's a pity to throw it away. Tanya thinks the team is really good. Camp space is just right for 3 people. Fortunately, I forced Beardo home early. Then we need to find a way to get more food back. Zach's archery is really worrying. Tanya thought she might as well pick some mushrooms. At least my stomach doesn't feel that bad. Zach thought it was just a little bit of luck. I have a lot to prove today. Observe your surroundings carefully. See if there's a squirrel over there. The best thing is to meet a deer. The biggest difficulty for Zach is missing his family. She has 3 children, the youngest of whom is 3 months old. I missed a lot for this challenge. If you don't win the money to go back, so you don't know how to face your family. He didn't want to go behind other people's backs. A father has to set an example for his children. I don't know how long I've been gone. I finally heard the squirrels. Go in immediately and look for it. Zach had to look for the squirrel before he found it. Take the bow and arrow at once. Aim and shoot. Next thing I know, Zach's back with the squirrel. The atmosphere of the team immediately improved. If only we could catch a few more. Zach is confident that he can go far in this challenge. Enjoy the delicacy. And Tanya wants to keep it that way. Try to win the championship. Charlie's team, ever since they found out about the neighborhood, that is becoming more anxious about making fire. Megan wanted to set up a fire pit like they did. Hopefully, this will light up well. The problem is that the surrounding material is wet. They don't know what the neighbors do they? Joey thinks he's ready to consider going to Delta. I was so close to igniting every time. The more you rush the fire, the harder it is to fix it. Everyone's focused on getting the fire right. In fact, quite a few embers have accumulated. You don't know why it doesn't burn. Joey, that took a lot of time and energy. Just barely lit to hold it together. We need to protect the fire right now. It's been so long since I felt warm. Julio was almost moved to tears. Just when everyone was happy about the fire, Bree was sneaking over to the Delta team. She doesn't want to starve at Charlie's anymore. Not even a fire to keep warm. Boy, this team is just getting better. Some of them have to go to another team. Do you think this is the show's script? Bree snuck away without saying anything. She's here to get her bonus. Not playing house with everyone. I thought when she went to Delta, I didn't think Bree would hike to the other side. She's joining the Alpha team to make up the numbers. Man, why didn't Bayardo think of walking over there? That's if it works. Definitely the worst woman who ever lived alone in the wilderness. It's at least a 12-kilometer walk. My legs are getting sore just hearing it. If you don't get in, and she can go home early to wash up and sleep. Bravo's side feeds mostly on small crabs from the shore. The problem is that no amount of food can fill you up. Hoping to find better food. Emily didn't like it very much. That would satisfy everyone's stomach. Sammy, the trap worked. Successfully triggered and caught a mouse. These rat chips are quite popular in the wilderness. 4 of us can only fit in between our teeth. Be sure to cook it well though. Everyone can sit and eat together. They still like the atmosphere. Charlie's team found Bree missing. Thought she'd had some kind of accident looking around. The problem is we've been looking for it for a long time. If something doesn't happen to Bree, that means leaving the team and going somewhere else. Joey was very sad about it. Julio thinks he really has bad eyes. Just got the fire started over here. Let's just say we lost a teammate. Never should have visited the Delta team in the first place. I'll just put Bree into silence. Megan is feeling really exhausted. It's going to be really hard. Bree didn't make much of a difference inside the camp, did he? It's better said than done. I wonder if the other teams got suckered. Bree was taking too many risks. If it's rejected, it won't be accepted again. I hope she's the next one to fire that flare. Now it's time to get it right. Bree was almost halfway along the coast. Fortunately, I had some training in the army. I'm a little confident in my endurance. Bree didn't take anything when she left. She thought she was still too kind. Anyone else would have taken a lot of stuff. The biggest problem is the lack of water. Just when Bree felt like she was about to break, suddenly heard the sound of water. Nature is really helping her. This is usually the kind of water you encounter in the wild. The risk of drinking it is very high, but I don't have a better choice. It tastes good. It's sweet. Has this Bree always been this reckless? It's getting closer to dark. Time is running out for her. I'm gonna go check on Team Bravo first. Have you even figured out how to ask for shelter? The first person I met was Sammy. He didn't expect anyone else to come across. This is crazy. Bree didn't expect the people here to be so nice. Give yourself water as soon as you get here. Emily thinks she's not easy. All alone across the river here. Bree was talking to the Bravo guys about how hard it was being on Charlie's team. Everyone thinks she's a smart person. I will definitely quit when I encounter him. But if it means letting her in, Bravo still has to think about it. As bad as things are with Bree. But a team of 5 is not acceptable. Alpha team intends to complete the camp today. This will keep you warm all night. It takes a lot of firewood to keep it going. So far the 3 are working well together. If nothing else, there was an accident. I wonder what will happen next. Let's wait and see.